We all have goals that feel just out of reach, but right at the point where we should take a step, our minds often produce incredibly logical-sounding reasons to stay exactly where we are. David Schwartz identifies this as excusitis, a mental defense mechanism. We use it to frame hesitation as practical realism, building a wall of logic that protects us from discomfort. Most of these barriers fall into four categories. We claim poor health, a lack of intelligence, the wrong age, or simply a lack of luck. If you believe a physical limitation is a final verdict, consider Nick Vujicic. He was born without arms or legs, an undeniable physical reality. Yet he spends his life traveling the world and speaking to thousands of people about the power of the mind. Nick proves that even the most extreme external constraints are secondary. If a man with no limbs builds a global platform, the reasons we use to justify our stagnation are likely inventions of our own making. One of the most common inventions is the age excuse, the convincing story that the window for change has already slammed shut. Look at the timeline. If our productive years span from age 20 to 70, we establish a clear baseline. If you are 40 and feel it's too late, you've spent 20 productive years, but have 30 to go. You aren't even halfway. When the math disproves the excuse, the logic of not enough time disappears. This leaves only the individual choice to either move forward or continue using the calendar as a shield. The most effective way to dismantle these mental blocks isn't to think your way out of them, it is to act. Confidence is a biological byproduct of movement, not a prerequisite for it. Henry Ford's development of the V8 engine provides the blueprint. He wanted to cast 8 cylinders into a single engine block, something that had never been done. His engineers spent a year telling him it was technically impossible. They provided every realistic reason why the project should be abandoned. Ford ignored the experts and demanded they keep trying. By prioritizing continuous iteration over the theoretical impossible, his team eventually found a way, casting the first successful block. Ford's success shows hesitation only gives doubt more time to grow. Action is the only force turning a theoretical problem into a solved reality. To make this work, you have to practice reluctant discipline. This is the habit of doing the work precisely when your mind is screaming for you to stop. These are micro actions, waking up 15 minutes early or doing 10 push-ups. Think of these as deposits into a confidence bank. They prove to your brain that you, not your mood, are in control. Procrastination does the opposite. When you delay an uncomfortable task, like an important email, you are essentially fertilizing your own fear. You give your brain days to visualize failure, making the task feel twice as heavy as it actually is. You don't need a total life overhaul to see results. You just need the discipline to take the very next step, even and especially if you don't feel like it. Once you have audited your own excuses, you can begin to change how you occupy space in the professional world. In this framework, leadership isn't about the title on your door. It is defined by an attitude of ownership. A typical employee sticks strictly to their job description and points fingers when things go wrong. A leader ignores the boundaries of their department and focuses entirely on finding the solution. When you stop explaining why problems exist and start resolving them, the professional environment shifts around you. You become the person colleagues trust with higher stakes and bigger responsibilities. But an internal mindset cannot survive a toxic environment. Your brain is a sponge, and it will eventually absorb the energy and ambitions of the people around you. Schwartz tells of a man in a small village who claimed he was trapped in a low-paying job because of his wife and kids. He spent years telling this story, using his family to explain why he never moved to Moscow to pursue his dreams. The problem with an environment like that is that it validates the excuse. To grow, you have to find a circle that rejects "it can't be done" and instead asks, "how can we do it?" Success is built on 3 pillars: removing the disease of excuses, forcing action through discipline, and finding a tribe that expects you to grow. The magic of thinking big begins the moment you decide to stop waiting.